Good morning. I am here. I see some of you all here. Thanks for being here. I think there was someone even waiting for this to start. That's pretty cool. So I am so glad you're here. This is some of my newest fun, to just find another way to get some of what I love and use and I'm excited about right to you, so that you can start using this stuff, start playing with this, start making it your own, and just finding more ways to feel better, more ways to enjoy right now. Um, so that's a blend of perspectives, some psychology, and practice. How does it come down to what we're practicing, and even how we realize that so much of what we do can become a practice and even part of our yoga. I'm still using that word yoga, even though I know it might. Some people may not come on over if they think this is yoga, because they already think they know what yoga is. But if you've been hanging around me, you know I'm loving shouting out that yoga just means union. So really anything that we do in the name of union, joining, reconnecting, realigning in all the ways we can, and union with so many things, but mainly ourselves and that higher part of us. So I love just tuning us all more into what works for us, what works for you, what works for me. And the best it gets, in my opinion, is when we personalize our use of this amazing, ancient yet progressive set of practices. And it's an ever-expanding set of practices. So even when I went through my first teacher training about 15 years ago with John Childers in Orange County, he would tell us there, just in the poses part of yoga alone, there were already over 800,000 postures. And that actually anything can be called a yoga posture even. It's all about the attention, the awareness, and the perspective and the mindset, and bringing in some of yoga's other blessed tools like breath. Love, love, love the breath. So many possibilities. Again, like thousands of exercises out there. I don't know them all. Someone's creating one right now, I'm sure. But also just the simplicity, the super simple, easy stuff we can do with breath. So dipping into just the many tools is what I love to share. So yes, it can be a lot about the postures, and using the right ones for you turns out is pretty important in how you're going to feel. So that's kind of my expertise, hooking you up with the right use of those medicinal therapeutic postures. And actually today, for the first time on one of these broadcasts, I'm going to take you through a little tiny bit of play with postures. Stuff we can do sitting, but I just can't hold it back any longer. And maybe I will find a way to actually take you through more like standing and floor-based stuff with my camera here for future episodes. But today I will blend in a little bit of use of postures. So today will be a little more practice-based than the previous episodes have been. And that's why I'm calling this one Feel Better Fix It, because I'm just going to take you through a series of wonderful ways to feel better now. And so yes, we'll use some of the postures we can do, even just sitting here. We'll play with our breath a little bit. We're also going to use some of yoga's just as important tools, and a lot of other schools use these tools as well, but like our attention and our awareness and our focus. Like how we're looking at the mind while we're practicing, while we're here together, how we're using the mind. We're going to play with mantra, kind of stems from that, is just means about words. So we might dip into a little something like Om, which is a Sanskrit mantra or word or sound. But also it reminds us how important our everyday words we're saying out loud and in our heads are part of our practice, part of our vibration. And for a lot of us, a big piece of what we can lovingly look at during our practice and shift, which is, totally cool and exciting. And maybe new to some of us that there's this real psychology to yoga and things that we can be doing inside, whether we do it during a pose or during a walk or during a conversation. It becomes a way of being and a way of life. So the idea is, as we dip into these practices, we're reconnecting, realigning with that way of being. So yoga union. So we'll play with many yoga union moments, tools, ideas, techniques to help you experience and enjoy and just feel better by the time we're done, wherever you're starting from now. And we'll probably talk a little bit about even why it's important to feel better in case we need a little encouragement. But we're also going to be playing with things like mudra is another tool of yoga, the hand gestures, just the power of how we're holding ourselves and how we can shift that with things like relaxing and ease. And then, what's all this spiritual stuff we hear about with yoga? I think that'll come in here too, because that's part of the feeling better as well, that the union, the yoga that we can be going for is really maybe intended to be about union with an inner you, a divine you, union with the magic of life, the magic of right now, the magic of the spiritual parts of life, if you want to feel into that. So the spiritual parts of you and the spiritual parts of life around you. And so just tuning back into maybe the truth of who you are through your yoga practice, through your moments, through your choices, through your uses of these tools. So in my view, you've already got a toolbox and some things you already use that help you feel better. And some of them might be like listening to your favorite song, and dancing is one of my favorites, or writing in your journal, or taking a nap, or taking a run, or playing golf, or being with someone who you love. But so you have your toolbox, and we're going to fill it up a little bit more today. Some of these things may be things that you already do and love, so we'll just remind you of those as ways to feel better and really shift your vibration, change your alignment, get your energy flowing a lot more smoothly, help you let go of old stuck energy, and really help you change how you're feeling, help you notice more how you're feeling. I love that I see now a big part of this way of being that we can slide into. I was just reading some Eric Schiffman, and I love how he'll invite you to like slide into peace. So I'm going to honor him, reference him, that I'm enjoying that slide into. It gets us better at being able to look within right now, notice how we're feeling, check it out, take that as valuable information, guidance, an indicator of how we're doing in the mind, in the body, in our feelings of connection with things like spirit and our divine best self. And then going right after remedying what is off balance. And that's, again, where it's really perfect if you're really driving this. So even if you have teachers like me sharing ideas, it's still going to be about you refining your toolbox and continuing to evolve your ways of tuning in and tuning up how you're feeling, how you're being right now, how you're experiencing right now, how you're thinking about the future, how you're experiencing your reality, how your health is going. So there's so much power to what I love to call right now yoga therapy. And really, these are all feel better therapies. And I love that this empowers you to know how to do this for you and helps you and me really own it. That we're the ones responsible for how we feel, and that is going to affect our everything so much. And so it's time to just start owning it, and that's really great news, that we can just do our best at tuning in, tuning up, and that's how we can really serve the world best, to let that be our first priority. And I need to encourage others. We love to do the same. So here we go. Let's tune it in, let's tune it up, and let's see what happens. So thanks again for being here. And maybe you brought your cup of something. I like to invite you to bring your cup of something. It kind of adds in another practice that you might say is a yoga-like practice of union, joining, connecting, slowing down, being here and now, is to see something like your cup of coffee, cup of hot water, cup of tea, cup of whatever, as part of your practice play, that just bringing it to the mouth and taking the sip, the mindful mind here and now presence. It's funny, I'm kind of like weary of using the word mindful. As a little side note, I liked that word for so long, but then when I was at the Ojai Yoga Crib back in October, which is one of my home bases every year, I was hearing from Ravi Ravindra, who's this awesome Indian scholar who's written a lot about yoga and really translating the sutras and such. But he was doing some discussing and sharing, and someone was asking a question, and somehow it got pointed out, like this idea of mindful. Do we really want mindfulness? So that was kind of interesting. Like, oh. But, so what is it? It's more about presence is what I'm trying to say. So let's bring ourselves into here and now even more. And again, I so appreciate that you're here doing this, and already give yourself a thank you for being here, taking some action towards how you want to handle yourself and your health and your mental health, your physical health, your energetic health. It's really important stuff. I mean, I like to be playful and fun, but it's important, really important, leading edge therapeutic work we're doing here. Super exciting. Definitely energy medicine is what we're doing with this stuff. I realize more than ever the things that we're going to do right now are going to help us manage our energy. So, you know, part of the beauty is we're going to get to go in and really just take a look at how we're starting and where we're starting from, how we're doing, and get better at honoring that and working with that and tuning into that. It's such a value of the practice that we can just become more feeling oriented, become more willing to lovingly, non-judgmentally take a look at how we're doing, how we're feeling, what the energy's like, what the mindset's like, what the thoughts have been like, how the body's feeling. So let's let you do that right now. Bring yourself into that state of observing more. A yogi mind, a meditating mind is more of an observing approach. So we become more of an observer. And so we're just kind of like watching, checking out, and just so let yourself take a notice, take a feel. And you could do that by closing your eyes if you want, but just start to check out how you're doing, how you're feeling on the inside. And that non-judgment is super important. So nothing good or bad, right or wrong happening here. So right away already, these are some of the feel better tools. Are you noticing some perspective stuff here? So non-judgment, one of our feel better tools right away, that if we could more often be in that place of not judging. Whew, I'm playing with that one. It's really big stuff. So shifting now, as we officially are practicing, see, this is how some of it invites us back into the way of being. When we practice, we're getting back into the perspective, which is some of the therapy, and then we carry that out into our day, into our moments, into our relationships. So bringing ourselves back into that observer perspective once again. So we're taking a look at the bod, noticing places that might be wanting our attention, places that might even hurt or feel uncomfortable or tense, and just starting to read that more as stuck energy. That's another one of yoga's perspective therapies, is helping us really realize that we're energetic beings more than anything, and that it's all energy. And I love this because it helps me feel a lot more brave and empowered and open about what can shift with our health when we see it as just energy. So whether it's something going on with an organ, or whether it's something going on with a ligament, or whether it's something just, some tight shoulders or headachy or whatever it is that you might notice in the bod right now, as yogis, we take a look at that as, well, that's just energy. That's an indicator of, perhaps some misalignment, some stuck energy, some imbalances. And yes, that might be because of mental, physical, emotional, spiritual stuff. But I can gently address that with my practice. So right away, I can just play with starting to relax more where I'm at. What can I just soften consciously and try letting go of? And that becomes a cool practice in its own, just throughout the day, going in, checking out where the tension and the tightness is, and just playing with what you can soften away and let go of. Even with something like a headache, like how much of that could you just like relax, soften. And it's really valuable. I'm letting myself go on this little like body tangent here, because the body becomes such a part of the indicators. And it's really true that it's part of feeling better involves the body, doesn't it? Because it's a little bit challenging to feel cheerful when the body doesn't feel good, right? When you have a headache, when your back hurts, whatever it may be, it makes it a little harder to be in a happy, peaceful state of mind, doesn't it? So it does play a role to help get the body back in balance, plays a role in the mental feelings of well-being, and even the excited feelings of inspiration, and even the ease within right now, right? So that's what's so cool about this, is that as we notice, even this is happening with the bod, we can now go into our practice and attend to that a little bit as energy, lovingly, go in there, do some gentle shifts, using things like the postures, but also the breath, also imagination, also even sound, also even, a lot about attention, awareness, perspective too. Imagination, did I say that one yet? So imagination both in sending white light to that area, is one of those classic techniques of yogis, but also imagination as far as what are you imagining is possible for that health condition. Like, do you imagine you could totally heal this? Because that's pretty important for you to be able to do it. But it's so awesome now, we know everything in the body regenerates within like a year. Really, so there's so much possible with our health. So as yogis, if we can get back into a real knowing that everything's possible, and again, that it's all just energy, it's all just vibration, so it all can easily shift with the, right loving attention and more union, more alignment. That's where the union, the alignment becomes the remedy. And now we also are taking a look as we start at how the mind's doing. That's a whole nother huge piece. Woo! Got to do like wavy hands for that. But taking a look at how the mind's doing as we get started, and how it's been, what kind of thoughts have been rolling through with that loving observer perspective, with the non-judgment. And so just becoming more of an observer of the thinking is a therapeutic tool, a feel-better tool. Do that more often. Let yourself become more just the watcher of the thinking. I think it's Eckhart Tolle who say you could, like, it's almost like a waterfall, and you're stepping behind the waterfall. So the thoughts, you just kind of separate a little bit from the thoughts and just become more of a watcher of the thoughts, can be a feel-better yoga tool. So look at all these tools before we even move or breathe. So you start to see a lot of the psychology that's part of these practices and perspectives that really is part of the big shift. So we're becoming the observer, taking a look at what's true right now, and just simply what is, where we're starting from today with this practice in this moment. And again, just to become more of a feeler and a watcher is going to get you more into your union right away. And then part of the beauty of becoming more listening and feeling is, as we get into more what feels like practice, a big power practice of these traditions is to quiet mind it. There's another Eric Schiffman reference. So yes, we do get to play as a big part of these practices, just playing with more quiet mind moments, more quiet mind possibilities. And so right now you might play with just checking out what it's like to let the mind get a little more quiet and listening. And you can even, allow some relaxing to help this, and even soften your face and jaw, and even relax your mind like it's just another muscle. And you could have your eyes closed if you want. And so just starting to invite the mind to be listening more, and maybe just check out the sounds around you more. So maybe my voice, and maybe there are some other sounds. And that right away is another tool to just listen to the sounds around you more, as a way to get into the quiet mind. So like we should have a little checkbox. Quiet mind more. That's the next tool. So while we're here, let's do that. After you leave this broadcast, that's in your toolbox now. We use quiet mind, and as you'll notice, you do that, it'll help you relax. And as you relax, it'll help quiet your mind. It kind of goes both ways. And as we align the structure more and do some energy work, that'll help quiet the mind too. So don't worry if quiet the mind feels impossible right now. And really, I do think that for most of us, even to get even like 5 or 10 seconds of quiet mind is a really big deal. Like, I don't know if there are many humans who can easily get more than like a minute of purely quiet mind. But that's okay. That's where that non-judgment comes in. And then it's just as cool and therapeutic to, when the thought rolls through that interrupts that quiet mind, to check out, oh, that's on my mind. That's interesting. So we're getting some valuable information about what is on our minds when the thought comes through to interrupt that quiet mind. And then now here's the real practice moment. What do you do next? Could you, as you realize you're thinking, could you kind of gently bring your attention back and try quieting it again? And so that's a big piece of that practice, is just attempting to quiet the mind more often. And one of the good reasons to do it is just because it feels better, and it also helps us enjoy our moment. But a great reason also is if we're thinking thoughts that don't feel good, which generally correlates with feeling cranky, grumpy, mad. Basically, anytime you're feeling bad, if you haven't noticed, it usually is because of what you're thinking about. So an instant remedy for you is if you could just do whatever it takes to quiet that mind. And like even kind of like gently, lovingly shut it up. And eventually redirect. But as I'm understanding it, with momentum, and again, even just the thoughts are just energy too. They are energy, and they are powerful, and they're affecting everything. They're affecting our bodies a lot, which is good news and bad news, but then good news again, because we own it, remember? So what we're thinking about, what we're saying in our heads, what we're saying out loud is affecting everything. It's an energy, and it may feel out of control and like it's terrorizing you. But what's cool here too is we can address that with our practices. Like we can come in and go, oh, what I'm addressing with my practices is this busy mind that sometimes terrorizes me and thinks terrible thoughts that are often not true or are the worst possible things that could happen. And this is part of where it's like owning imagination becomes important, because like if imagination is one of our power tools and is helping us create our reality, then we really want to watch how we're using it. if we're thinking about what we most fear with a lot of power and emotion, yikes, we're sending that out. So let's see what we can do to gently flip that and use that imagination like a superhero. This is big. This is new for a lot of us. We're all using our imaginations. It's not like you're not using it. I know, me too. And I'm still cleaning this up as well. But this is part of the psychology, the perspective, and that it's all energetic. So this all came from just starting, taking a look at what's happening in your mind as we start, because that is important. And we are going to shift that as part of our practice. So we're going to shift how the body feels. We're going to shift what the mind's doing and how it's experiencing right now, how it's functioning right now. We're going to change our energy. And we're just going to feel better. And yeah, the piece of feeling better. What's pretty simple and powerful is that how we feel is telling us about what our energy is like right now. And remember, we are sending out vibration and energy all the time from how we feel and how we're thinking. And then we're also, described to be like a magnet with that whole law of attraction thing. So we're sending out and drawing back that energy that we're feeling. So this becomes the vibrational reasoning to feel better now. I really got that from some of my teachers. Whatever you can do to feel better now becomes like the highest priority, to change everything. To change your health, to change your mind, to change your reality. Feeling better is it. So how you feel tells you about how you're vibing. And as you feel better, you start to vibe better. You're now sending out different vibration. You're now attracting back different stuff, different rendezvous, different moments with people, even with the same people. Attracting higher vibe moments with the husband or the partner or the kids. And this is where this stuff becomes really exciting, because your energy is really affecting everything. So I'm seeing it's like the progressive, powerful superhero thing to do, to recognize this and own this. And so that involves being willing to be a feeler and a watcher of how you're doing throughout the day, and make it your job to be tuned into that tuning in more and more. And then being in charge of being eager to always tune it up from wherever you're feeling. And even if you're feeling good, it's even a great idea to try feeling better. And so some of the ways of feeling better that are simpler is even just, could you relax more? Could you soften more? Could you quiet that mind more and be present? Or could you think better thoughts even? Could you imagine even better? Or even just using some of the tools to clean up the energy even more, shift your vibration, get yourself in better alignment with the breath, with postures, with other things like movement and play. And so important. So we're starting our practice. We've taken a look at how we're feeling. We're getting into that observer mode, getting more feeling oriented, more here and now, more quiet mind. And soften that face, relax that jaw, and add a little half smile. Smiling, one of our tools, sends instant mood boosting chemicals to the brain. So smiling, whether it's during your practice or during your day, is an instant feel better yoga tool. Union. Relaxing is another one. Keep playing with that while we're here together and out in your days, just more and more. And it's nice how face and jaw, I love to remind us of this, is relax the face and jaw. Like a domino effect, it relaxes the rest of the body. So keep starting face and jaw, relax more. And then like try it again. Could you relax more? Like I notice many of us, I know me, there's like layers of tension going on there. And lots of habits of holding on. Just for many reasons. So just going in there more often and seeing what we can soften and relax and shift just consciously is pretty cool. Again, this is before we even use any postures. And that's when we use the postures to go after what we can't shift so consciously. And also just to ensure that energy flow is smooth and that everything's getting replenished with fresh blood and energy and oxygen, good stuff. So let's multitask a little bit. I invite you to put the hands in the classic mudra of index finger to thumb on both hands. And then you can put those hands down on your lap if you want. And let's start with hands down. Some would say that's a good way to get grounded and even more present to start. And if you're sitting, you might get a little more sitting upright and aligned so you feel symmetrical and a little more at ease. And that also that your energy already is going to flow better when you're aligned. Or as aligned as you can be before we do some postures to get you more aligned. So relax, smiling, soft, and then see if you can get a little intentionally still without holding yourself still. So more of a relaxed stillness. Still and relaxed. I've been thinking I could have like still and chill sessions. Still and chill. So just experimenting with stillness is big stuff. Softening, relaxing. Got that mudra in the hands. And then we could turn the hands up on the lap, so their palms up now with that mudra. And let's just notice that we are breathing. And that's the next power tool, that just watching the breath becomes a great place to come. So just notice that you are breathing. Put your attention on your breath. And this right away is a tool to get us more in the moment, more in our bodies, a way to focus the mind. Here's where some of that focus comes in. You start to see how these tools are intended to harness your focus, bring you into right now, bring you within. So just watching the breath, and then just attention on the breath already starts to link mind and body more. It feels really good and centering and connecting. So just being with the breath throughout the day, the next tool here for your toolbox, just being with the breath before we even change it. Although you'll notice just being with the breath, you want to start to change it. It's kind of cool. So I'll invite you to start to change it, change the shape of your breathing very gently, very naturally. We always want to make our changes with the breath gently. So kind of nice if we could start to inhale more through the nose, if that works for you today. And then out through the nose or the mouth. I'm cool with either. So inhaling more through the nose, if that works for you in the sinuses today. And that's where if some days you were a little sinusy, you would handle it differently as far as your breath and what kind of stuff you're going to do that day. The importance of personalizing this and approaching it daily. And then the simple change I like to invite for the breath is getting it happening more in the belly, like we were born to do. So if you could really, really relax your belly and start to breathe into it more. So that means willing to inhale and fill up that belly more like a balloon. And then the exhale, slow and long. You'll feel the belly pulling in, drawing in as you let all and more of that air go. Still gentle. And so just develop that pattern a little bit more into the belly, and slower, longer exhale. And so that's your next tool combo, is belly breath with longer exhales. Both are great. Belly breathing is going to get lots more oxygen to all the cells, going to really engage the diaphragm, massage the heart every time you get the breath more into your belly. So it's really good for your heart health, really good for all of you. And then the exhale, longer exhale, is really big and important. You may not be focusing on that as much, and now let's invite you to. The exhale is what relaxes us. So anytime you notice you're a little uptight or tense, practice longer exhales. You know, you might be thinking, oh yeah, I'll take a deep breath in. But then if you don't breathe it all out, you actually will get left feeling more anxious. So longer exhale is a key for relaxing more and chilling it out. I remember during my teacher training for my year-long training, I got to be an assistant for my teacher and helping at his studio as he was opening this new studio while he had a teacher training going. And it was so cool to be around him. This is John Childers again. To be around him when he would sometimes be facing projects that might be a little challenging or intimidating or a bunch of paperwork or organizing. It was so cool for me to witness how he would handle that as a yogi. And I would hear him engage the breath more as he was sitting down to some paperwork and hear him get into the longer exhales. And it was really, I learned a lot being around my yoga teacher at that time, and to see how he was bringing it into his daily life, and that he knew when it was time to lay down in a restful yoga pose amidst the paperwork, and when it was time to feed the body with some nutritious foods. So anyways, this listening and feeling stuff can take us a long way, and using the tools outside of your official practice time. And that's where you might just say you're practicing all day long instead of seeing like, this is my yoga time. Like, you could start to shift that it's all yoga, you're practicing yoga union all day long, and that you just have all these tools. I do that now even more. I don't say, even with my kids, I don't say I'm going to go do my yoga. I say I'm going to go do my mat practice. So that differentiates that my postures, my time with the postures, which is important, and I do my solid 15, 20 minute a day practice that's personal for my bod and really keeps me feeling great. So I do fit in that valuable time with the postures, but I call that my mat practice. I call that my postural therapy, because my yoga is definitely way more than just the postures. So as a teacher, I've realized how important it is for even me to change my language with that, because so many of us, even teachers, will say, I haven't done yoga in weeks. And it's like, well, what's happening all day long? Or I haven't done any yoga today. It's like, you haven't had any moments of union today? So let us all own our yoga, our union, as a moment-to-moment practice, and play with the tools. So some of these tools I'm sharing and filling you up with, and then tools you already know you love. So you'll always have your personalized, always expanding toolbox. That's what's so cool. I see it. It's like I'm always filling up my toolbox. When something new comes along that really resonates with me, it's fun to try and play with and add to my repertoire. So, yeah. So we've gotten into some breathing. We're playing with the belly breath, the longer exhales, the relaxing, the smiling, the easing, the quieting, the stillness, the mudra. Let's do another couple breath things just to be cool and groovy. And then we'll make sure we do some time with the postures, because as always, our hour is going quickly. So next, one more thing with the breath. Let's do that potent, groovy, alternate nostril breath. And we'll just do it for a minute or two. This one very powerfully shifts our energy, really gets us focused and centered, and really calms us down. So I like it. It's a little groovy looking, but it's a power tool that you can kind of use when you really, I don't know, it's cool to think, what would you feel like if you started each day with this, or did this regularly? Or, there's always the option to just use it when you notice you really could use a shift. So this one is pretty cool. We're going to want to sit upright, relax, take that right hand. We're either going to make the hang loose mudra. Yee! California, dude. Or the more classical mudra would be index finger and thumb extended. There we go. Like this. I think I got it right. Okay. Yeah. So you could do this version, or you could do just the hang loose. Either's fine. We're going to block that right nostril and take a deep breath into the belly through the left side, the left nostril. And now block the left nostril with the pinky and exhale right side. Inhale right nostril, slow and easy. Block the right, exhale left. Stay relaxed about it. Let's just do one more time. Inhale left side. Block the left, exhale right. And you could have your eyes open or closed. Inhale right side. Block the right, exhale left. Great. Put the hand in the lap. Deep breath through both nostrils. And long exhale out through the mouth. And just let that settle in. Breathe naturally. Notice how you feel. Cool. Okay, I can tell my bod would like a little bit of play with some alignment. So again, we're just going to do a couple of things sitting to address some important areas like neck and shoulders, like the spine and hips a little bit, and how much this affects everything and how we feel. And it'll especially help if we've got some misalignments, some stuck energy, and whether or not we're feeling that in the bod today. So sit yourself up as aligned as you can be, and ideally you'll have your feet out on the floor in front of you, placed flat. Feet hips width apart would be really nice, pointed straight ahead. And if you could have your feet right under your knees and hands on your lap right now. Good. So sitting aligned with a little tiny arch in your low back. Shoulders should be right over your hips, and knees are right over your ankles. Good. Neck pretty centered. Chin maybe down and in a little bit. Good. So first we're going to do a little stretch that's going to feel like a stretch to some of the arm tricep muscles, but it's going to really help open up each shoulder for the spine, and that's going to really just change the energy and how we feel and how we can breathe. So reach. I'm going to reach that right arm up, and then I'm going to just put the right arm down the back like so. Best I can do with that, pointing that right elbow up. And I'm going to use that other hand to just kind of gently grab the elbow and point it up even more. So my hand's going down the back, and wherever I'm at with this, I'm just going to hold it for about a minute. So this hand's just kind of helping gently guide it. And with the postures, you never really want it to hurt. Nice to feel a little, get a feeling of work, a little stretch. There's a little stretch and a little strengthen on this one. And we add that breathing. So powerful. We're just going to hold it a little bit longer. Get the belly breath happening. Get the longer exhales. See what you can do to relax around the work. Soften everywhere else. breathing, smiling, mind with you. Good. Okay, then let's put that arm down. You might even start to feel some tingling in the hand and such. Good. So that really changes that shoulder position and gets us more back and open. Now let's do the other side, which will probably be different. Stretch that arm up. Breathing in, it's kind of nice. And then as we exhale, let's put the hand down the back and just feel it out. What's it like on this side? This is where that listening within is really nice. Point that elbow up and use the other hand to help breathe into this. So you'll feel this is given a little stretch, a little reposition to that left shoulder for the spine. Really great. Breathing into it. Neck, you want to be right over the spine. So chin maybe down and in. And you're sitting still, nice and upright, feet out on the floor, breathing. So about a minute with this one is great to address the neck and shoulders. This is the kind of stuff that can really help if you tend to get like cricks in the neck, things like that, tension, tightness. This will stretch and strengthen you right out of that one. Do this in your chair. Good. So about a minute with that one, breathing. And then maybe a couple shoulder rolls back. And just notice what feels different and better. Breathe into your belly. Exhale everything out. Another simple, easy one is to interlace the hands, turn the palms away. You're going to straighten out the arms and then bring them up overhead. Now you may not be able to get them right beside the ears, but go as far as you can with elbows straight. So my arms are just stretched up. I still have those hands turned out. I'm breathing. If I can hold this for about a minute, breathing, stretching and strengthening the shoulders. This one's pretty hardcore if you hold it for about a minute. And then you can just gently look up in doses. And with some of this stuff, you might feel like little chiropractic cricks and cracks, which is good. We're actually giving the structure like a chiropractic adjustment when we use some of these postures. So we're getting you out of the rounding. We're getting you out of problems in the neck and shoulders. Good. Really lighten up that neck with the spine. Fresh blood to the brain on this one. It's a refreshing one. Good. So about a minute. Awesome. Relax the arms down. A couple shoulder rolls back. And just start to notice how different you might feel. Boy, I can feel that. So again, as it's all just energy, consider how you've freed up constricted energy, gotten things flowing more. And now take a new, fresh breath into those new spaces you've created in the bod. Then breathe out more of the old stuff. And this is where imagination is awesome. You can imagine, see, feel that breath coming in, doing some cleansing, some refreshing with the energy, with the oxygen. See that, feel that. Maybe like white light, if you like that kind of image, or some other color or feeling or sensation. And then as you breathe out, see that old stuff leaving, feel it leaving. Maybe like dark smoke, maybe draining out of you back into the earth. So using imagination along with this stuff, really cool. And just keep noticing the changes, feeling better, more at ease, more relaxed. We kind of stretch the neck a little bit now after we've gently made some changes to the structure. Good. And notice how you feel. Better? Different? Does the mind feel a little more at ease? Try some more of that just listening mind. Is it a little easier to get quiet in the mind after affecting the energy like we have? It's a little easier to feel better, more relaxed. And then what can be some of the spiritual parts of these practices, this approach, getting into this way of being, is some would say that And I'm finding that it's in those quiet, feel better moments that we start to tune in more to the feelings of things like spirit or God or Tao, life energy. So part of our union for sure can be about tuning back into that. And then what's cool is that doing some of these things like relaxing, like changing the energy, like quieting the mind, help us get there more. And then some of how we can even blend like imagination and perspective with the union with that spiritual part of us, that spiritual part of life, is just letting ourselves conceive of and even feel that we have this part of us that is divine, that is wise, that is knowing, this inner being, this higher self, this God within that's always there, and that we are. And that the more that we let ourselves rejoin with that, remind ourselves of that, become that more, that this is really where the union, the yoga, gets deep. So we use the practices to get back into that union, that spiritual awareness of ourselves as spirit, as life as spirit. And so part of your practice can be knowing that you're intending to have union with that truth for you in your life, and that you're using these tools and even things like just relaxing and feeling better as part of your spiritual practice, because you feel more in tune with spiritual you and spiritual now when you feel good and relaxed and open. And if we're all made of energy, and that energy is an energy that is magical or of spirit, of God, then the more we can allow that energy to flow through us smoothly and easily and brilliantly, the more aligned and filled up with that we are. And so, yeah, the yogis talk about namaste, the light within me, the divine within me, bowing to the divine within you. And that even part of what we can play with is this feeling of like illumination from within, and just dwell on that image, that feeling, that sensation of radiance maybe blossoming from like a heart center of you, and just to let ourselves play with that and feel that, like a glow and a light and a radiance and an energy, and even play with sending that out and feeling how that radiates out and is affecting everything around us. And also just noticing the spirit, the magic in life, in our moments, in our relationships, in our rendezvous, and tuning into that more as part of our yoga, as part of our therapy. And so, yeah, there are tools that help us do that too, though, you know, like our very meditative practice that we're doing, and even things like creating art-like things or writing or other ways that we might keep helping ourselves come back to that feeling of union with spirit you, spirit life. And so that's part of it, goes both ways, that feeling better helps us tune more into that part of us and that part of life, and tuning more into that part of us and that part of life helps us feel better. So it goes both ways. And then remember, energetically, as we feel better and literally change how we feel, and as we think better and literally change how we think, that we're vibrating very differently. And we're sending out really different energy, and we're bringing back really different stuff. So this is big important work that we can do, really, but we can maybe enjoy it more if we see it as play. And then it becomes a way of being. And so, yes, weaving in moments that feel like practice, and maybe especially as we're being feeling oriented, that we're tuned in, and noticing when we want to use some of the tools to tune in more and or to tune up. And the great righteous reasons to tune up. And even if you're feeling great, could you feel even better? And just starting to notice more how your world, your reality changes as you start feeling better, as you start vibing better, as you use these feel better fix-its to keep tuning up how you feel. Make note of how that's changing what's coming in, what's happening in your life, in your relationships, much less how you're feeling and how you're thinking. You should really notice a nice momentum shift in the thoughts as you attend more to how you feel and as you focus more on feeling better. There's generally a nice feel better shift in the thinking, and where actually thinking can become a pleasurable activity, a fruitful activity. And so, yeah, imagine the being you can be as you let yourself tune into divine you and divine now. And let yourself use your feel better fix-its to just tune it in, tune it up to your highest, best self. I think the world deserves it, and definitely you do. And it's amazing that you came here to share this with me. I so appreciate it. This is some of my art, sharing with you from where I'm at, creatively, in the moment, from my love and understanding and practices and perspectives to yours. So I appreciate it. And as always, if you have specifics that you'd like some ideas on, as far as helping you find more union, help you use your therapy more specifically, I love to help you. It's my excitement when someone like you's ready for what I have to offer with really personalizing your practice, helping you fill up your toolbox more and get it even just right for you at this age and stage of life. So lots of appreciation for the technology here and the fun for me to just express and share and create something for those who are ready. So until next week, I hope you have a wonderful next moment and the next moment and the next. And let's see ourselves all carrying out into our day with a refreshed perspective on how we're using our practices, how we're being in our moments, how we're being in ourselves. And how we might always find ways to soften that, ease that, enjoy that more. And knowing that that's really going to change it all, make it all better. You are the power. It's pretty cool. Alrighty. Well, I so appreciate you being here. So much thanks and namaste. Put my hands in the prayer position right at my heart. Till next time. Adios.